A very good evening, Zimbabwe. You are listening to Studio 7 from the Voice of America in Washington on Wednesday, November 23rd, 2022. This is Live Talk. I am Kip Stube. Tonight on the Diaspora Forum, we are talking about President Emmerson Mnangagwa's State of the Nation address and the World Cup in Qatar, where there are major upsets in the first few games. President Emmerson Mnangagwa today officially opened the 5th session of the 9th Parliament of Zimbabwe at the new Parliament building built by a Chinese company in Mount Hampton at a cost of over $200 million United States dollars. Mnangagwa, who also presented his State of the Nation address, urged political parties to desist from political violence, adding that Zimbabweans are expected to vote freely next year. Namhlanje kuhlelo lwe-Diaspora Forum sixoxa ngokwethulwe nguMongameli Emmerson Mnangagwa esethula umbiko wakhe oqakathekileyo we-State of the Nation address khonangale ke eMount Hampton eduzane leHarare. Uvule njalo kusemthethweni idale leli eleParlamente elakhiwa inkampani yakwale China. Inkampani yakwale China ke yanikwa imali efika $200 million yasiqhubela ke eleZimbabwe ukuthi yakhe idale leli. So ke sibonile ke uMnangagwa esithi kumele amabandla wonke akankase ngokuthula kukhetho oluzayo, kulungiselelwa ukhetho oluzayo. Uphinde njalo wathi uhulumende wakhe senze okuningi kakhulu selokhe wayethula umbiko ofanayo nyakenye. Uthe ke amabandla aphikisayo kumele angayenzi udlakela ngoba udlakela alulunganga. Sizaxoxa njalo la ngokwenzakala khonangale eQatar emidlalweni ye-World Cup. And officially opening the new Parliament building and presenting his State of the Nation address, Mnangagwa said his government has done a lot of people-centered programs in the past few months.
Monetary and fiscal policy measures to stabilize the economy and curtail speculative borrowing and other rent-seeking behavior are bearing fruit. Gold coins valued at 9.5 billion Zimbabwe dollars were sold as at 30th September 2022. Smaller denominations of the gold coins have been unveiled by the Reserve Bank of Zimbabwe to broaden access and inclusivity. Month-on-month inflation for September significantly declined to 3.5% from 12.4% in August 2022. Every Zimbabwean must jealously guard this stability we are experiencing. Meanwhile, foreign currency earnings amounted to $7.7 billion for the 8 months up to 31st August 2022. This reflects a 32.4% increase from the $5.8 billion recorded over the corresponding period in 2021.
That was President Emmerson Mnangagwa presenting his State of the Nation address. We obtained this video from the Twitter handle of the Ministry of Information. Reacting to Mnangagwa's address, Citizens Coalition for Change Interim Vice President Tendai Piti castigated Mnangagwa's government for failing to address serious issues affecting Zimbabweans.
And what I mean by that is that there is a couch of intolerance. There is no common vision. There is toxicity. There is extraction. So the State of the Nation needed to address the issues of the social contract, the social fabric of the country. Secondly, in a country where 80 cents out of every dollar is being siphoned off by corruption, there was a need and obligation for the state of the nation to address the imperator of corruption. So you can't address the state of the nation without addressing the nation itself. We need a vision of unity, a vision of integrity, a vision of rebuilding the social fabric of our country.
That was Tendai Biti, the interim vice president of the Citizens Coalition for Change, speaking after the State of the Nation address by President Emmerson Mnangagwa. Now let's turn to the World Cup 2022 in Qatar. There have been major upsets in the games played so far, and today Japan beat soccer powers Germany 2-1 in a Group E game. Japan were a cut above the Germans as they opened their game wide and beat the Europeans hands down. The Germans fell just a day after Lionel Messi's Argentina were beaten by Saudi Arabia in Group C. 32 nations are participating in the World Cup games. African nations are finding it going tough as Senegal were beaten 2-0 by the Netherlands and Morocco settled for a 0-0 draw with Croatia. Tunisia also struggled against Denmark in a Group D encounter yesterday. Cameroon and Ghana play in crucial games tomorrow against Switzerland and Portugal. African teams are yet to record a single win. No African nation has ever won the World Cup. Will they win the World Cup this time around? That needs to be seen. So now we are joined by our first guest, that is Mondli Mabaisa, who is in London. He is a soccer analyst. Mabaisa, welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you. Thank you.
How is London?
Well, I just got back today. I don't know whether I can mix the languages or should I stick with the English only?
Yes, we'll be mixing as we go. So let's start with the first question, Mabaisa. The first question is, what's your assessment of the games? We saw right now Spain, I think the game is about to end. Spain was leading 6-0 against Costa Rica, and we have seen some major upsets. Is Saudi Arabia beating a powerhouse? That was a big upset. I think you saw it yourself. So give us your assessment of the game so far.
Right. I'm going to be completely... Anyway, Spain, it's finished. They won 7-0. That's, top-class football. Execution was great. With the Argentina game, I'm going to be honest, I was coming back from Qatar. I only went to watch the French team. So I got back today, and then I had to watch the Spain game. But the Argentina game, it was a game of two halves. I think Argentina, the first half, they could have won easily 4-5-0. They only had one goal. But then the second half, things turned around. Saudi, they took their chances. They stuck to their game plan. And top credit to the coach for drilling the players. They stuck to their game plan. Well executed.
Yeah, but looking at other games, you have seen African teams are struggling, really. What's your take on the African teams?
Well, to my surprise, me personally, I thought the African teams, they were going to benefit from the weather, heat, giving them the advantage. They are used to the kind of heat and stuff. But I'm quite surprised. I don't know whether it's being unfortunate or it's being naive. Sometimes it's the pressure, pressure of the big games. I just don't seem to get it. You just need one of the teams, to really go for it.
Yeah. So, but looking at how Argentina were beaten, so it shows that it's everyone's game, right? And in Qatar, how was the atmosphere as well?
It's anybody's game. I mean, there's been all this hype about the changes of the laws. Me personally, top credit to the people from Qatar. They've stuck to their guns, and it's like, this is how we want this thing to be done. So it's either you do this or not. So moving away from that, the atmosphere is great. People are friendly. If you just abide by the law, everything is smooth. The funds, they're mixing, and akula problem. Unless you want to start a problem, and then you will have a problem. But otherwise, the atmosphere is good.
Yeah, so hold on there, Molly, because we'll come back to you and talk about availability of beer and other things, which is very critical in supporting soccer. I think you were upset as well that there was no beer there. So hold on there. So African nations are finding the going tough, as Senegal were beaten 2-0 by the Netherlands, and we know that Morocco, actually settled for a draw there. So now I think we've got a video from Mudok, who is actually telling us about what happened, before the games actually started, and what has been happening to some of the people that were actually doing all sorts of things. So as the 2022 FIFA World Cup games play out in Qatar, VOA reports on the status of some of the people that had some problems down there. So Mudok reports from, I think, Cambodia or somewhere there.
Not long after Qatar was awarded the 2022 World Cup back in 2010, rights groups and the media began reporting abuses against the rapidly growing population of migrant workers, mostly from South Asia and Africa. In the Dhanusha district of Nepal, young men flocked to Qatar, many borrowing large sums to get there for the chance to make some money and build a future. Families left behind say there were no other good options. Before her husband, Muneshwar, went to Qatar, Aslani Devi Yadav says he was paid only 4 kilograms of rice a day for his work in Nepal. He died in Qatar in 2018.
We had small children at that time, so he decided to go for foreign employment to earn money for the food and their schooling.
Muneshwar worked in construction, often carrying heavy loads to the top of skyscrapers under construction. Despite this danger, he died at night, and his family was told it was of heart failure.
His body was brought 15 days after the death. After that, we performed his last rites and rituals at our home.
Amnesty International says most of the death certificates issued to the families of the deceased migrant workers list some kind of heart failure or natural causes of death. Doctors say healthy young men do not die naturally. But this ruling means employers are not legally or financially responsible for the death. And Yadav, like other families left behind, now struggles to survive.
There is no source of income after my husband's death. I sold my land. I am running my home from the money from the land sale.
When that money is gone, Yadav says her children will have to work because she doesn't make enough money selling milk from her one buffalo to support the family. A 2021 Guardian newspaper investigation revealed that more than 6,500 migrant workers have died in Qatar since the World Cup was awarded. Qatari World Cup officials declined to be interviewed for this report. Heather Murdoch, VOA News, Dhanusha, Nepal.
Thank you very much, Heather Murdoch there in Nepal. Thank you so much. And for those that have just joined our show, please note that we are streaming this discussion live on our Facebook pages, VOA Studio 7, VOA Indebele, and VOA Shona. We're also live on YouTube, VOA Zimbabwe. You can also find us on our websites, www.voaindebele.com, www.voashona.com, and www.voazimbabwe.com. Send us messages right now on all our platforms. We're going to take a short break and come back. We still have one of our guests, Mondli Mabaisa, on the line. Yes, we still have our guest, that is Monli Mabaisa in the United Kingdom. He has been in Qatar and is really following these games. So before we took a break, we were talking about, beer and all those kind of things. I saw some people protesting, saying we want beer and so forth. So what was going on there? Did you witness that, Mabaisa?
Well, the rules are simple. You don't drink in public. You don't. If you're gonna make any mischief, they'll deal with you. So follow the rules. It's their rules, simple as all that. You just have to deal with it. Do without. They can complain as much as they want, but it is what it is.
Yes, siyabona ke ukuthi imidlalo leyi kulamaqembu anganayawa amanye avuka amanye aluma sibili kuzwele. Saudi Arabia siyabona ishaye phela team enkulu iArgentina. Kuzobuya leSenegal sibone ikhuma umlotha lapha kunzima. Akusiyethu ukubona njani ngesindebele khona.
Ibhora livele linjalo mfowethu. You can expect the unexpected. Argentina, I'm sure very everybody was thinking which Argentina is away. Go to Saudi Arabia with the passion yabo, the game plan yabo. Back in the game plan yabo, it worked in the second half. Its support, as you know, which is Saudi is not far from the hosting nation. Support was great. Pele support, it does wonders sometimes. It's like the 12th man. And me watching that game, Argentina, I sang it let that next level. You change gear, change tactic. Nine to say better. Because if first half being the second half, it was competitive. Saudi stick to a game plan, which is pressing high. And they took their chances. Now, Argentina coming back, will be a problem. And Usukumbula ke support ke ama fans is a cruiser. Because ubantomu ke lapho.
Yeah. So we've got another guest, and that is Tandazani Zimbabwe. He is in Bulawayo. Welcome to the show, Tandazani.
Nyabonga Gibbs.
Let's start with ngena khona phamafutshane ngesikhiwo point yanga. So lamhli igame ekade khona Spain versus Costa Rica 7 nya Tandazani. Then Belgium versus Canada is yet to be played. So akusinike nje ingqondo yakho ukuthi how far do you think these games are going, and the African teams are struggling? Just a minute to wrap that.
Ngikhangelele ukuthi ngisokungalu amalungiselelo ukuthi kwahamba njani belungiselela umdlalo omkhulu we-World Cup. Kodwa ngizathanda ukugxila kakhulu kweze Africa, ekakhulu sikhangele iqembu lethu leSenegal elivele Africa, ngikhangele njalo leTunisia yona edraw leDenmark. I think that is a very good result, especially eTunisia, ngoba osokumele bakwenze ikakhulu ku-Australia yikho lapho osokumele bathole khona iwin yabo. Bengatholi iwin ku-Australia usingakhangelela ukuthi bengaqhubekela phambili. iSenegal kuza kuba nzima, sebedlale kuhle kwaze kwangena ku-80 minutes, but just like in the past we lose concentration yethu siyayiswela as African teams, and then we capitulate, especially ku last 10 minutes. Umendi unozinti weSenegal ngathi mhlawumbe ulahlise abanye bakhe ngoba bedlale kuhle. Bekuzaba kuhle ukuthi baqede ku-0-0, kodwa khona ukuthi bagcine bedliwa ukuthi sebezadonsa gadalala besiya phambili. Mhlawumbe ngabe ngenelisa ukuthi bawine umdlalo wabo olandelayo, yikho kungabanika ithuba lokuthi baphumelele.
Yes, Tanazani. Let's go forward with tomorrow's games. There's Switzerland against Cameroon, and we've got Portugal against Ghana, and Brazil against Serbia. So let's take the games one by one. Switzerland versus Cameroon, your take on that in English? Go ahead, Tandazan.
I'm very hopeful. If at all there is a country that should carry the African hopes any further than the quarterfinals which we have made in previous years, I think it is Cameroon. They have done pretty well. I look beyond what is happening on the pitch, but also in terms of administration, the fact that Samuel Eto'o is now head of their football association, the links, the experience that Samuel Eto'o has. And also it's true that he has influence even on the technical team, given the respect that he commands. And that, I think, has motivated the boys, and they all want to play more than just for the country, but also their leadership, the incentives that they are getting. So in Cameroon, I think they will be our biggest hope. After Cameroon, I also look at Ghana. Ghana has done very well. They are taking on Portugal. If Portugal do not work harder than they have done in the past, mina ngokubona kwami Ronaldo effect may be their biggest undoing. If anything, that effect will be a big motivation for Ghana. I think that will play a big role. The biggest shock that can happen is also if they decide not to play Ronaldo. I think that will be a big shock. But also if they play him, I think it can be also their biggest weakness.
Thank you very much. Can you say this in Shona? What about the game between USA and England on Friday? This is a game that is coming and people are excited. Can you put that in Shona briefly?
Andotenda apa mutambo uchanakidza chikuru ndechekuti mutambo uchanakidza asi kana ndakatarisa matambiro akaita United States pavakapedza ari mangange neWales izvo zviya zvinovapa mutoro mukuru kuti pavachazotamba neEngland hapasina zvimwe zvavakatarisira panze pekuti vakunde. Vakasakunda zvinenge zvichavaremera kuti vachienderera mberi pamutambo weWorld Cup wegore rino. Hezvo zvingangoitika kuti vakasakunda vanenge varakufanirwa kuti vadrowe kuitira kuti mutambo wavo wogumisira vagone kuwina pamutambo wavo neIran. Saka America painotamba neEngland ndotenda kunakidza mutambo uchanakidza wati unogona kupera uri mangange. England inoziva kuti pakuwina payakaita yakamwisa zvibodzwa zvakawanda. Saka iyo zvinhu zvaakungotarisira ndezviya zvokunzi manage the game, manage the tournament, the qualifiers, because kutamba kwavakaita pamutambo wavo wekutanga neIran ndo wakaita kuti vaone kuti kubudirira kuenda kunext round ndofunga vachaenda. Saka pavachatamba neAmerica zvavanenge vachingotsvaga chete vanenge vaakutsvaga kuti vasadyiwa. Nyange vasina kuwina havo asi vakasadyiwa vanenge vachiziva kuti taakubudirira.
Thank you very much, Tandazan, and stay on the line. Let's see what people are saying on our Facebook pages. On Vio Ndebele, we've got Akim Ngube who says, I know Mr. Mabaisa from somewhere. He looks like my homeboy. And then Richard Moyo says, thanks very much for bringing soccer to our households. Thank you so much, Richard, there. And then we've got Mandla Maposakala, who says, Linjani, I'm in Botswana and I'm watching the games. Thank you so much. Let's go back to Mondli Mabaisa in London. So, Mondli, looking at the forthcoming games, so what's your analysis on the Portugal versus Ghana and then Switzerland versus Cameroon?
Portugal versus Ghana. I mean, I did hear my brother there speaking about Ronaldo. Ronaldo's situation, it's a bit tricky.
Oh, let's do this. Just 1 minute, Mondli. 1 minute. Let's get a caller. There's a caller right now on the line. Okay. Caller in South Africa, how are you?
Tinofara Makadi.
Tinofara, zita mnonzane?
Mnyaradzi Nidi.
Yeah, taura zenyu Mnyaradzi.
Okay, ndati otufara otiona mutambo World Cup iri mutambo hai.
Wakamira sei mutambo wacho?
Mutambo yacho irikutipa zvimwe zvishamiso zvakawandisa zvikurisa zvatasina kufungidzira. Zvatiri kuona zviri kuitika zvibodzwa zvimwe zvakawanda, zvimwe zvikwata zvikuru zviri kurohwa zvatisingafungidziri, zvekuti vaya vanoita zvekubheja dzimari vazhinji vari kuchema zvikurisa.
Iwe hauna kubheja here?
Inini ndakasina kubheja, ndagara hangu ndinotya kubheja.
Indaba baba.
Yeah, but kufarawo zvakare kuti tikuona zvikwata zvemuafricawo zvatinonyanya kutsigira zviri kutambawo zviri nani zvazvo kunyange pasati paita chikwata chemuafrica chakunda, asi tiri kuona kuti matambiro acho ari nani zvekuti pazvikwata zvasara Cameroon neTunisia, Cameroon ndiyo yasara, kutarisirawo kuti ichange ichikunda.
Unofunga kuti kune African team ichatora mukombe uyu?
Ya, zvinogona kunge riri gore racho, zvinogona kungoitika sezvo zvatanga tisingafungidziri kuti zvinoitika, zvimwe zvacho tiri kuzoona zvichiitika. Saka mukaona pamutambo wanezuro weArgentina hapana ainge achifungidzira kuti Argentina ichakurirwa. Zvakare nhasi utaona Germany ichirohwa, zvakare marogo aitwa Germany angofanana nemarogo akaitwa Argentina nezuro. Saka Africa inogona kungoitawo surprise kana, but tichida Africa kuti chero tikasatora asi tikaonawo chikwata chinopinda kana musemi-final for the first time zvingatifadzawo zvakanyanya.
Thank you very much, Munya. In South Africa, that was Mnyaradzi speaking to us in South Africa there. Let's go back to Mondli. Mondli, so we're talking about, these coming games. Let's say Switzerland versus Cameroon. Just a minute on that, and then Portugal versus Ghana. 1 minute too. So I'm giving you just a few minutes. Go ahead, Mondli. Yes, Mondli, are you there? Hello, Mondli. Mondli is on Skype. I think he has got some problems and challenges. Yes, Mondli, can you hear me? Okay, let's go to Tanzania. We are going to come back to Mondli. So your last word, Tanzania Zimbabwe, on these games. Is any African team expected to win the World Cup, or is just a dream?
Personally, I think the way things have gone, they are showing us that the game is revolving and anything is possible. When you get a team like Saudi Arabia beating Argentina, when you get Japan beating Germany, and even don't underestimate the result between Tunisia and Denmark, because Denmark has world-class players. When you talk of Christian Eriksen, he's a big-time player. And when you have a team like Denmark being held to a 0-0 draw by an African team, it shows that the potential is immense. It's all about how African teams will manage their games, particularly in a situation where the game goes for long periods as a stalemate. Usually we capitulate in the last 10 minutes. If we can manage to focus, concentrate in the latter stages of the game, I think we can make it further than the quarterfinals that we have made before. Remember in USA 94.
Thank you very much. Yes. Thank you very much, Tanzania Zimbabwe. Sorry, there's no extra time this side. If we were in Qatar, we're going to have some bit of extra time. We've come to the end of our show. We wish to thank our guests this evening. With Mondli Mabaisa and Tanzania Zimbabwe. Signing off from Washington, D.C., this is Gibbs Tube saying good night, Zimbabwe.